On a quiet morning at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, something unusual happened. A group of researchers who had been carefully monitoring deep space transmissions suddenly picked up a faint, irregular signal. It wasn't just background noise, it was different. This signal stood out, not by its strength, but by its structure. And the source? None other than Voyager 2, the iconic spacecraft launched in 1977, now over 12 billion miles away from Earth. Voyager 2 had always been reliable. For decades, it traveled through the vast emptiness of space, sending back data about cosmic radiation, magnetic fields, and solar winds. Its transmissions were expected to weaken over time. But what the scientists saw in this signal was something no one had predicted. An anomaly, a pattern hidden within the usual data stream. Not just a glitch or technical hiccup, but a structured and rhythmic signal, something that felt intentional. At first, the team thought it might be a malfunction. Voyager's systems are old, and its hardware wasn't designed for the complexities of modern data interpretation. But this wasn't just random noise. It repeated, again and again, too precise to be accidental. The pulses were spaced evenly, divided across narrow bands of frequencies. It was as if the probe was trying to communicate, or worse, something else was using it to talk. Engineers and scientists from organizations like SETI, JPL, and other international space agencies quickly got involved. They fed the data into advanced algorithms, trying to decode its meaning. What they found was even more bizarre. The transmission, when visualized, formed geometric patterns. Some parts resembled prime number sequences, which many researchers believe could indicate an attempt at intelligent communication. Dr. Evelyn Chang, a signal analyst at JPL, commented, "The signal is too well organized. We don't see this in nature. If it's an artifact, it's the most elegant artifact I've ever seen." Her colleague, astrophysicist Dr. Luis Romero, added, "It's like someone is trying to speak in our language, using our own probe as a translator." Voyager 2 was not built to adapt or change. It has no AI. No system that could reprogram itself. Its hardware is frozen in the technology of the 1970s. That's what made this event so hard to explain. Either the spacecraft had experienced a highly improbable glitch, or something, an external force, had accessed its systems and manipulated its transmission. No scientist wanted to say it out loud, but the possibility hovered in every conversation. Was Voyager 2 contacted by an intelligence not of this Earth? As the mystery unfolded, all eyes turned to interstellar space. Voyager had crossed the heliosphere years ago, entering the deep unknown beyond our solar system. Its path was clear. No nearby stars, no black holes, no known celestial events. And yet, this signal had emerged, completely undetected by any other instrument. No radiation, no heat, no gravitational anomaly. Just a quiet, rhythmic signal. Dr. Fiona Mueller, a SETI researcher, noted, "If this was contact, it was the cleanest, quietest form of contact ever imagined. No trace, no footprint, just a whisper." That whisper, however, spoke volumes. When scientists mapped the structure of the waveform, they noticed something remarkable. It mirrored parts of the golden record, the phonograph disc Voyager carries, containing music, greetings, and information about life on Earth. But it wasn't a copy. The harmonics in the signal had been modified. It was as if someone had heard the golden record and responded in a similar but unique dialect. A signal that said not only, "We heard you," but possibly, "We understand." The implications were staggering. Voyager 2 was never meant to return. It was humanity's message in a bottle, tossed into the vast cosmic sea. Now, decades later, it appeared that someone, or something, had picked it up, read the message, and returned it with an answer. Experts debated whether Voyager's circuits could have decayed in just the right way to form this complex signal. But the odds were beyond astronomical. Redundancies were in place for every system. Minor power drops. Anticipated. Thermal changes. Accounted for. But an elegant mathematical structure embedded in the transmission. That was beyond explanation. The signal lasted several minutes, an incredibly long time for a probe running on fading nuclear batteries. Why waste energy like that? unless the signal had been prioritized, or worse, commandeered. As news of the anomaly spread, theories flooded the internet. Some believed Voyager 2 had achieved its real mission, not just science, but first contact. Others warned of unknown risks, suggesting the message could be a trap or even a test. Among scientists, the debate became more philosophical. Dr. Carla Reyes, from the European Space Agency, asked, if they chose Voyager to respond, what does that say about how they see us? That they understood what we meant by that record. Others, like mathematician Dr. Raj Patel, speculated that the signal could contain a code, a kind of linguistic handshake to see if humans were ready to engage on higher terms. Some researchers went deeper, noting that the signal included symbolic sequences, prime harmonics, and nested waveforms, the kind of features seen in theoretical non-human languages. It was not just data, it was artfully arranged. Even more puzzling was the fact that all independent observatories confirmed the exact same data. The timestamps aligned. The waveform structure was consistent across redundant logs. There was no mistake. This wasn't a single telescope's glitch. It was real. Scientists began analyzing Voyager's exact location at the time. Was it near a cosmic phenomenon? A dark energy filament? An alien construct? Nothing unusual was found. It was just drifting, silently, through interstellar space. Yet, it had spoken. This discovery also revived an old debate. Should humans be actively sending signals into space, or stay quiet and observe? For decades, astronomers have argued both sides. But Voyager 2's signal proved one thing: you don't need to speak loudly to be heard. Even silent probes can be turned into mouthpieces, if someone out there chooses to use them. There's something deeply poetic in that. Our oldest emissary, drifting farther than any human-made object ever has, may have become the first interstellar ambassador. Not because we told it to, but because something else saw it and responded. In ancient times, civilizations believed that the stars were watching. Perhaps they were right. Perhaps the stars aren't empty. Perhaps they contain observers, watching from a distance, waiting. And when the moment feels right, they speak. Not with thunder and spectacle, but with a pattern in a faint signal from a machine we almost forgot. Dr. Naomi Ling, an astrophysicist and philosopher, reflected, the signal isn't loud, but its silence between pulses is just as meaningful. It's like someone is inviting us into a bigger conversation. Scientists now believe this event might not be a one-time occurrence. Ongoing monitoring has been intensified. Data is being paused for secondary signals, follow-up pulses, or even new modulations. If this was the first contact, it may not be the last. What fascinates experts most is not the mystery, but the method. Whoever, or whatever, engineered this contact used our own tools against us, in the best way possible. They learned our language, and then used it to say hello. That's not just intelligence, that's respectful communication. For the scientific community, this moment will go down as a turning point. A paradigm shift. Proof that even the coldest, darkest corners of space may hold surprises, and possibly, friends. Now, Voyager 2 continues its lonely voyage, as it always has. But it's no longer alone in our thoughts. It may carry not only our hopes but now also our response to the cosmos. We spoke first. And now, we may have been heard. Subscribe to our channel and thanks for watching.